Welcome to the Andrea Engstrom Show. I'm passionate about helping you break through to your next level of abundance, success, and freedom so that you can create the life you desire and inspire others to do the same. I'm your host, Andrea Engstrom, and on today's show, we're going to talk about daily rituals. And so, this is all about how to create powerful personal habits that set you up for success. I want to start with talking about your morning rituals. And y'all know I spell the word rituals RICHuals because this is about setting yourself up for the personal wealth, the relationship wealth, the happiness, the joy, all of the things that you want to see happening in your life. And how you start your day really matters. So I want to first start talking about your morning rituals. So I like to follow a formula from a book called Miracle Morning, and these are life savers in a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And SAVERS is an acronym that we're going to walk through together. And this is one of the most powerful ways to start your day. If you start your day with this sort of formula, you are setting yourself up for success. And so the S in SAVERS stands for silence. It's meditation, prayer, listening, just being quiet. I think so many of us spend so much of our life talking and putting out information. We're rarely being quiet and listening. And so, even if we're in prayer, oftentimes our prayers sound like a to-do list for God instead of listening and saying, God, what do you have for me? And just being quiet and receiving. I think meditation is a really powerful practice to just be quiet and focus on your breath, focus on just clearing your mind of all of the chaos that tends to run and around in our brains. So the S is for silence. The A is for affirmations. And so I take time to review my written affirmations every single day. And this is all about deciding who I intend to be and reminding myself to be her today. And so I have a series of affirmation statements that are my I am statements that I say to myself and read to myself every single day. The V is for visualizations. And this is about reviewing your written goals, your vision board. I love to keep those things in front of me and visuals that remind me why I'm working so hard, why I'm showing up to my life as my best self that I intend to be. And so, having written goals and visuals that will remind you of where you're headed and what your vision of the future is a really powerful way to start your day as well. Before you get started on your to do lists and your tasks, review your written goals and your vision board. The E in SAVERS is exercise, doing something to get your blood pumping. And admittedly, this is one of the areas that I need the most work. I have a resistance in me to exercise. But for me, I know that this is my one thing. I know that if I go for a 20-minute walk outdoors, it completely changes how I feel the rest of the day. And it's the one thing that causes other things to become easier or unnecessary. And so when I exercise, I eat better. I have better energy, which makes everything else easier. And so I want to encourage you, do something to get your blood pumping first thing in the morning. The R in SAVERS is reading for personal development. This is not picking up a romance novel or the latest fiction book that you're into. This is about reading something that helps you on the path to where you are headed, something for personal development. Some people like to start their day reading their Bible in the morning or a devotion book or something like that. And I love to read books that are from other thought leaders, people that are helping me to grow and expand in my understanding of success and who I am wanting to become. I read books that help me to be her. And then the S is for scribing, journaling, writing about what you read, brainstorming, writing things that you're grateful for. And so the life savers, again, just to recap here, the S is for silence, the A is for affirmations, V is for visualizations, E is for exercise, R is for reading, and S is for scribing. And I actually keep a notebook near where I like to sit and have my caffeine in the morning. And I will pick up this notebook, and it has these prompts for me, reminding me of the things that I need to do, the process that I want to go through in the morning. Because this stuff, y'all, this doesn't come naturally to most of us. Most of us have to take action even when we don't feel like it, right? Because action actually comes before feeling in most cases. So if we wait to feel like exercising, we will rarely get off the couch. But if we go ahead and start exercising, we feel good. We feel like continuing. And once you do that enough days in a row, then it starts to feel like your body goes, wait a second, let's get out and let's get some exercise, right? The same thing is works for exercising your brain and exercising in the areas that you want to create positive habits. And the goal is that these become habits where when you roll out of bed in the morning, you don't hit snooze. You roll out of bed and you go to your place where you do these steps in the morning, where you create a morning ritual, and it becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. Because nobody has to remind you to brush your teeth in the morning, right? We just go, oh, that's what I do. It's how I have my best life, as I wake up and I brush my teeth. And so I want for you to have powerful personal habits that set you up for success. And Miracle Morning for me is one of the most powerful ways to do that. So you're in the process of teaching yourself what you are capable of every day. Are you an action taker? Are you disciplined? Do you do what you say you will do? Decide who you want to be in your ideal future and start showing up to your life as her every day. And for most of us, that means that we are starting our day off the way we intend to start our day. You know, I went through this exercise when I first decided to get into real estate investing as an entrepreneur. And I went through this process of trying to figure out what do I need to do. And and I went through an exercise where I wrote down, what does my future life look like? And it was really a visualization exercise. It was about, what does my ideal future life look like once I have accomplished my goals? And something really interesting happened. As I wrote down what a day in the life of future successful me looked like, I wrote down things like, how I would start my morning and the amount of time I would dedicate to, meditating and journaling and writing, and some of these things that I said are going to be in my future successful life, because that's in an ideal world. That's what I would do with my time if my time was all my own. And then I looked at that list and I had this realization, and I said, wow, there is literally almost nothing on this list that I couldn't do now. I can decide how early I wake up and how much time I spend reading and journaling and writing. Like, I can decide those things. And the second realization that I had, and I don't have to have millions and millions of dollars in the bank in order to take those actions, right? But the second realization that I had was that if I don't start showing up to my life as her, what if I never get to be her? If I don't start showing up and doing those things now? Because we need to be doing the things that successful people do if we want to be a successful person. But I think some of us, most of us probably, have this idea that we can't do those things until something has happened, until we have created some level of success. We don't get to do the things that successful people do. But you get to decide how you show up to your life every day. And it's a series of small decisions. It's a series of micro decisions. Like, how are we setting our alarm? Like, what time are we setting our alarm? Are we hitting snooze, or are we actually getting up when our alarm goes off? What time are we getting to bed the night before to set ourselves up for that successful morning that we intend to have? So becoming successful is not about just making one big decision one time and then all of a sudden it happens. Because there's a principle that is more important than making a commitment is recommitment. It's the small decisions that we make every day piled up all in a row that lead to the success that we want. If you look at your goals, if you think about what I really want my life to look like, it's really not about doing one big thing. Usually it's about stringing a bunch of small decisions that happen over the course of time and stringing those all together. And that's what creates that success. So recommitment is greater than commitment. And some of us will say, well, I used to do a good morning ritual. I was on a good I read that book and I started doing the thing. And then it just kind of drifted away. Like I just stopped doing it one day. And then the next day I didn't do it. And I kind of broke the habit. But I want to encourage you today that recommitment is greater than commitment. This means that today you can draw your line in the sand. You can decide that mediocrity is no longer acceptable to you, and you can take the actions that you intend to take. And in fact, you don't have to wait till tomorrow morning. You could have a miracle, afternoon today. You could have a daily ritual that you just stop what you're doing and spend the time doing the things that you need to do. And a lot of us will use this excuse that, oh, I don't have time. Wouldn't it be nice if I had 90 minutes every morning or 2 hours or whatever to do this miracle morning thing that you're talking about, Andrea? Wouldn't that be great? But here's the truth. If you spent 1 minute on each of those lifesavers, each of those activities each day, 1 minute in silence, meditation, or prayer, 1 minute reviewing your affirmations, 1 minute visualizing, reviewing your written goals or looking at your vision board, 1 minute getting your blood pumping with some exercise, 1 minute reading a page out of a book for personal development, 1 minute scribing or journaling, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, even just takes 1 minute. If you were to do each of those things and you just spent 6 minutes in the morning, it could absolutely transform the rest of your day. And I call this working on my spiritual fitness. It's getting my head on straight. Because here's the thing. When we fail to make time for personal development, we are forced to make time for pain and struggle. And so I find that on a day when I don't take the time in the morning to get my head on straight and to get my spiritual fitness right, almost inevitably, I will show up to a situation not as my best self. I will say something that was not gentle. I will, and then I regret it. And then I think about it later and then I have to apologize or I have to make it right. Or I have to, I just overthink about it. Or I'll engage in a conversation that I'm like, I don't feel good about that. What was I, why did I say that? Why did I do that? And so the pain and struggle that comes as a result of not taking time to get my spiritual fitness right in the morning always costs me more time than it would have if I would have just taken that time first thing in the day. Or I'll find myself, because I'm not in a momentum state where I woke up and started my day right. And I said, and I proved to myself that I do what I say I will do, that those are days that I also struggle with procrastination. I'll put off other things that I say are my priorities or that are important to me. I will, because I showed myself first thing in the morning that that's who I am. And so I want to encourage you, take the time to start your day off right. Have daily rituals that set you up for success and that show you that you do what you say you will do. This is part of what builds confidence in us, is that when we are people who have the discipline to do what we said we would do, it bleeds over into our to-do list. And then we continue throughout the day. When we did what we said we would do first thing in the morning, we are far more likely to do what we said we would do later in the day, right? Because we've gotten off on the right foot. So make the commitment to yourself that you're going to start your day right. The commitment to yourself that you are becoming who you need to be. Because remember this principle, be, do, have, right? The question we ask is, who do I need to be in order to do what it takes to have what I want to have? And if we can attach what we do as daily habits to a principle or an identity that we align with, it's kind of like when somebody says, you can either say, well, I go for a run every morning, or you say, I am a runner, right? So instead of, and if you want to be someone who is disciplined, you don't say, well, I do something I do something most of the time on a regular basis, and I am developing discipline. No, we want to say, I am disciplined. I do what I say I will do. I do what I say I will do. I am tenacious. I do those things over and over. I can do hard things. I persevere even when I'm really tired. I wake up when my alarm goes off and I get up and I do the thing that I committed to. And when we do those things, we're proving to ourselves what we are capable of. We're proving to ourselves that we are the one who makes it happen, who accomplishes the things that we set out to do. And it creates momentum. It creates lasting momentum throughout your day. So there's some other daily rituals that I want to share with you that I think are really powerful. One of the things that I like to attach to my miracle morning are some prayers that I will say, especially when I don't know what to pray for. And so I actually want to share these prayers with you. Some of these are very personal for me, and so just open hands energy. I'm going to say these out loud for you, and if one of these resonates and you're like, yeah, that needs to be the prayer of my heart as well, then I want to encourage you to adopt some of these for your own, right? And so the daily prayers that I go to, these are my go-to daily prayers. The first one is called the Prayer of Jabez. And many of you are familiar with this. There's a little book that came out called the Prayer of Jabez, and it's based on 1 Chronicles 4, 9 through 10. And the prayer goes like this: Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. That is such a powerful prayer. And when I first started praying that, I thought that enlarge my territory was about buying more real estate. I was like, oh, I'm going to get more property. God, give me more property, But I was saying this prayer. And what I realized one day is that the territory that God wants to expand for me the most is the territory of helping other women and inspiring others to create success and to enlarge their territory. So as I am growing the group of women that I'm able to pour into and to invest in and help them to create the success and the goals and create the life that God has for them. God is continuing to expand my territory, and I'm so excited, y'all. I just hit 1,000 members in my Facebook group, and for some of you listening, you're like, "Oh, isn't that cute? That's not very many." But for me, I'm like, there's 1,000 women that I'm sharing my great stuff with that are growing and learning and being inspired and encouraging each other. And so God is continuing to enlarge my territory, and I want to encourage you if you're not yet a part of my Bold Women in Business Sisterhood, my Facebook group, I want to encourage you to look us up and join us. And because I want God to continue to enlarge that territory, help us to change more lives. The second prayer that I pray is from the big book, the Alcoholics Anonymous. It's called the Serenity Prayer, and it's actually I can't remember who originally said this, but we go back to it. I love that book, and this is a prayer that I pray regularly, and this is one of my go-tos. I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Isn't that powerful? And I think that book is a great book for anybody that feels like they may be struggling with addictive behaviors in your life. There's some, we're talking about the daily beneficial habits, but a lot of us have bad habits that we have to overcome, and things that have deep roots based on years and years of challenges that we've gone through. And so if that's you, I want to encourage you. This is a prayer that I pray when I'm When I'm struggling, I say, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I love this prayer because it reminds me, and I always like kind of add a couple words in there. The things that I cannot change are typically other people and sometimes circumstances that I don't have control over. And my default, I want to control everybody around me so that they all are behaving well and following exactly what I think other people should be doing. And I don't know if you can relate to that. Most of us have people in our life, like our kids or our spouse, and we're like, if they would only just behave the way they need to behave, then all of us would be happier. But in reality, it's making us miserable because we're trying to control other people around us. And so we pray for serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, and then courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I like to make a list of the things that I can change. So if I feel like I'm struggling because I feel out of control in some area of my life, I'll make a list of the things that I can control. And those things are typically how early I wake up in the morning. I'm the boss of that. If I eat well, if I am getting enough water, if I am starting my day reading in a book that is inspiring or that is helping me become who I need to be. I can pray. I can exercise. I can do a lot of things that will shift how I'm feeling, that will shift circumstances sometimes. And so that's a great way for you to, create a habit around that as well, is just figure out what it is that you can do when you're struggling in a situation, and then decide what you're going to do, right? And pray for wisdom that you know the difference. All right. And then the next one that I pray is I call it my mantra, and it goes like this. And if you ever hear me pray at the end of a coaching session that I'm leading, I will almost always wrap it up with something like this. I pray, God, guide us in your will, your truth, and your ways. Let the desires of my heart align with yours. Guide me in your will and your truth and your ways. Let the desires of my heart align with yours. And that prayer just gives me peace. It reminds me that I'm not in control and that I'm seeking guidance from outside of myself. I'm seeking guidance from a power that is greater than me. And then the other prayer that I pray on a regular basis, because I'm often in a situation where I don't know what to do. I could go this way, I could go this way, and that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes there's not really a wrong direction. We just need to decide, like, what should I do? Should I do this or should I do this? And sometimes those decisions can be big, and we're talking about a big decision that impacts other people, whether that's about a relationship or it's about a career shift or something like that. And so that what I pray when I'm facing a decision is, God, give me inspiration, an intuitive thought, or a decision. Easy peasy. God, give me inspiration, an intuitive thought, or a decision. And then here's the trick. After you pray that prayer, we relax, take it easy, don't struggle, and just wait for it to come. Because I think sometimes we pray, and this is where silence comes in, right? Where sometimes we will pray something and we'll be like, God, give me wisdom. And then we will tell God what we think we want, right? It's like we will tell him what we have decided. God, give me wisdom, but please make this happen right away. And so we need to become people who have that open hands energy that we talk about, where we're just like, whatever it is that you have for me, I'm here to receive it. If this is not for me, take it from me. Just that open hands energy related to when we're praying, right? And so come up with a tool. This is what I'm describing here is kind of a toolkit, right? It's a toolkit that I go back to on a daily basis where I know what I'm going to be doing in my morning ritual. I have prayers that I go to, especially for when I don't know what to pray for, and that just help me get centered and get my spiritual fitness in a place where I am ready to interact with other people in the world. And I'm dedicating time to reconnecting with my spirit and with God's spirit. Another daily ritual that I want to encourage you around or share with you is something I call PrEP. And PrEP is another acronym like lifesavers, but PrEP is one that I came up with. And it's something that you could do on, say, a Sunday afternoon, or this could be a nightly routine. Something that, because it's really about getting you ready for the next day or for the next week. And so PrEP stands for prepare for the day. P is prepare for the day. R is reset spaces. E is energy plan. And P, the last P, is priorities review. And so in the first P, prepare for the day, this is like about preparing to be awesome. So this is like laying out your clothes for the day, setting out morning routine items, just getting ready to hit the ground running the next day. The R is reset spaces. And this is like organizing your desk, picking up your room, cleaning your kitchen, straightening up your living room. So resetting the areas so that when you go into that space the next day, it's like with fresh perspective, and like there's nothing better than walking into a clean kitchen to cook breakfast or to make coffee, right? Makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you did it right. Going into a living room or your workspace and having it all be organized when you sit down to focus is so powerful. And so this is another one of those daily rituals that can really set you up for success. The E in PrEP is the energy plan. And so this is about your meal plan. I don't know about you, but I struggle with eating well when I'm working and when I'm focused. I will like grab some chips and hummus or like some cucumbers and cottage cheese or something, which all of those are pretty good choices. I also will sometimes grab a lemon bar if it's sitting in my fridge because I didn't have a plan, right? So if we have a plan for what we're going to eat for energy, and maybe we have food prepped for our meals and snacks, then we are setting ourselves up for success with our energy, right? And this includes restocking drinks. If there's certain drinks that you like to have, and whether that's fruited water or sparkling water or something like that, something that allows you to make good choices throughout the day and makes it easy for you. And then laying out daily supplements, making it so those are in your immediate visual path each day, so you remember to take your mineral supplements or vitamins. If there's medications that you need to take and you're always forgetting those things, like lay them out so that you are seeing them and taking them at the right time. And then the final P is priorities review. So one of the best ways that I like to prioritize is by asking that question about the one thing. And the one thing question is from a book by Gary Keller called The One Thing. And the question is this: what is the one thing I could do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? And so what if you asked yourself that at the beginning of every week, like Sunday evening, you're getting ready for your work week, and you go through and you're doing this prep, and you ask yourself this question: what's the one thing I could do this week such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? Isn't that powerful clarity that you can get to? And you can look at your goals and say, okay, what's the one thing I could do this week that would move my highest priority goal forward? And then you can ask yourself this on a daily basis too. This is an important daily ritual you can create for yourself. What's the one thing I can do today such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? So get into the powerful habit of asking yourself these questions and answering these questions so that you hit your to-do list and hit your desk with clarity and confidence that you're focused on what needs to be your highest priorities. And then write down your rocks for time blocking. What are the things that you need to get in your calendar that will allow you to move things forward? That is a powerful daily, weekly habit that we all need to have in place, is that we look at our to-do list, we prioritize our one thing, and then we put blocks of time in our calendar to move the things forward on our to-do list that we've said are our highest priorities. And we're focused on high value activities, more of those in our calendar. All right. So just as a recap, the acronym for PrEP is P is prepare for the day. R is reset your spaces. E is energy plan. And then the final P is priorities review. If you did that even once a week, you are going to have a greater focus and productivity and feel good and like all those things that we say we want. I want better health, wealth, joy. I want more of the good stuff in my life. You will be setting yourself up for that success. And so consider adding prep to your daily rituals. All right. Well, this has been an amazing time that we're spending together today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to gain even more clarity in your life and your business, I want to invite you to join me for a workshop for women entrepreneurs on how to build your personal clarity, confidence, and connections so you can increase your income, live your best life, and inspire others to do the same. You can register for free for my workshop at andreaengstrom.com. And if something today on the show resonated with you, would you just let me know by giving me a review on the podcast? Tell me how many stars you think I deserve. And if you're a woman entrepreneur, join my Facebook group, Bold Women in Business Sisterhood, where I share strategies for clarity, confidence, and powerful connections so you can build the business and the life that you deserve. Till next time, I'm Andrea Engstrom, encouraging you to take action on your dreams. You are the one who makes your dreams come true. So show up to your life with power and authenticity. Be bold, be tenacious, and make it happen.